What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're doing yet another Amazon video. Before we get started, just comment down below if you have any questions about working at Amazon, what it's like working at Amazon, any questions you would like to ask an Amazon employee like myself. If you have any questions for me, please comment them down below. I'm going to be doing an Amazon employee Q&A. So please, any questions you have, comment them down below so they will be answered. And then in one of my future videos where I do this Amazon Q&A, I will shout you out. I'll have your comment there and everything like that. So please, if you have any questions, comment them down below. But with that being said, it's time to start with the video. Today, I'm pretty much kind of doing like a little bit of a quiz to see like, should you work at Amazon? I'm gonna be asking about 5 questions. And I would say like, if you can check off like 3 or 4 of these, or you're okay with 3 or 4 of these, I would say you're probably gonna wanna work at Amazon. You'll probably be able to work there. It'll be fine. But if you kind of like, I guess, fail this quiz, Amazon's probably not for you. But with that being said, let's start off with the very first one. So these are kind of like qualities of what it takes to like work at Amazon basically. And yeah, it's kind of hard to explain. So let me just start off. The first one, my first question is, are you introverted? Amazon is definitely a very heavy introvert job. I think if you're somebody who wants to constantly be talking to someone, or just somebody who likes the teamwork aspect of things, I would not check this box off, because I would say that this job is definitely more for introverts than extroverts, or just for people who would rather stick to themselves and work alone than people who like to work on a team. Now, this is still a team job, like you're still working at a team effort when you work at Amazon, but I think most of the work is done just by yourself, solo, like literally for the most of your day. Almost like you can go an entire day at work, sometimes even an entire week, literally just talking to not talking to yourself, but literally not talking to anyone. You're just working alone. You go in, you clock in, you get to your station, you start working, clock out. You don't talk to anybody. That's the kind of job that Amazon is. It's a very introvert friendly job. So I would definitely say that if you are an extrovert, I wouldn't check this box off, because if you like to talk to somebody, if you like to be like super friendly and stuff like that, I would definitely say this job is probably not for you, because you won't have that many opportunities. Of course, on break and stuff like that, you can talk to people, but in a lot of situations, it's just gonna be you. This also depends on your position, but for the most part, I would honestly say most positions you're gonna be talking to nobody. So if you are introverted, go ahead and check this box off. That's 1 out of 5 already. This job is probably for you, because this is a very introvert friendly job. And as an introvert myself, I really appreciate that a lot, because I am probably one of the most introverted people on this planet. I can talk to people. I've like, my job before this was at a restaurant, working drive-through, and the job before that was at another warehouse, talking to people, like having to communicate with them a lot. I can talk to people if need be, but I prefer to work on my own, and so I can check this box off as well. It's definitely an introvert friendly job, so if you're an extrovert, I would not check this box off. My next one is a big one for some people. I've noticed this on the Amazon subreddit. There are 2 Amazon subreddits, r/FASC Amazon and then r/Amazon FC. I believe those are the 2 main ones. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I've noticed a lot of people on these subreddits say that this job is so hard, this job is so difficult, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. When realistically, for the most part, in most situations, it's just people being lazy. So this one is, are you okay with being on your feet for 10+ hours? Are you okay with constantly standing? Are you okay with working hard? Because if you're not okay with that, do not check this box off, because this is definitely a job where you're literally on your feet for, my shift for example is 10 hours. Some shifts go as low as to 4 hours, but I would say the most common shift is 10 hours, with there also being a really common shift of 12 hours. And there's an 8-hour shift as well, but that one is very uncommon. It's not really a more often shift that people choose. The main shifts are 10 and 12, with 10 probably being the most common one. So if you're not okay with being on your feet and working really hard and working your body for 10 plus hours, this job is not for you. I'm just gonna say this, like if you can't stand on your feet working constantly for 10+ hours, even like 8 hours, like this job just isn't for you. I'm gonna tell you straight up, because there's a lot of people who come in there and they quit a week later because it's just too much work for them. I'm gonna warn you before that. If you are not currently working at Amazon, and if you've never worked at a warehouse and you've just never done hard work, this is what you're getting into. So don't go here and expect it to be super easy, because it's not. You're gonna be on your feet for a while, and I know for some people this is really, really difficult. I've seen it on the Reddit where people quit instantly. I've seen it online on TikTok and all of that, where people are basically, I wouldn't say lazy, because I mean, okay, in a lot of cases, yeah, it's lazy. In some cases, it's just that's not people staying. For some people, that's just not, this is not their job. This is not their type of job, and that's completely understandable. That is okay, but just assess this with yourself first. Is that for you? Because if it's not, don't check this one off. If you're okay with that, or if you enjoy work like that, definitely check this box, because you will be on your feet a lot and you're going to be working hard quite a lot. So yeah, basically this job is for you if you're a hardworking person who's okay with being on their feet and using their body a lot. My third one is kind of one of those deal breakers for me that I wish I would have paid attention more to before I started working there, or when I was applying. Basically, I was really thirsty for this job, so I didn't pay attention to this. But whenever you're applying, there's gonna be a little schedule. Like for mine, it showed me Wednesday through Saturday, and then it says in parentheses, it says OT 10 hours or OT 10 hours Saturdays, whatever. It'll show a certain date. So that means that if you're working Wednesday through Saturday and it says OT Sunday, that means if they call mandatory extra time, which is a thing, they can call mandatory extra time where you, and actually right now they've been doing it for the past couple of months, where you have to show up to work. There's basically no choice. Unless you use some of your time off, you have to be at work. And by the way, depending on what state you're in, here in Texas, we don't get a lot of time off. So just to clear that up. But this next one is basically like, are you okay with working mandatory extra time, where maybe like 2 hours before you're about to clock out on your final shift of the week, you might get a message on your screen saying, you got to come into work tomorrow, blah blah blah, at whatever time. It's gonna tell you there's mandatory extra time called for tomorrow, and you'll know what day it is once you're applying. Let me show you guys real quick what it looks like, actually, because there's currently transfers open and I can show you. So when you're choosing a shift, it'll look somewhat like this. Basically, let's just choose this one for an example. It'll say 6:30. See, your work days will be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then you see that OT 50 hours day Saturday. That means that if mandatory extra time gets called, you'll have to come in on Saturday and you'll get 10 extra hours. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's what it looks like. Overtime, there's mandatory extra time. It is the end of May while I'm filming this, and since about February, I would say, we've had consecutive week after week of mandatory extra time. So I've been having to work 5 days a week, 10-hour shifts, so 50 hours per week, almost every single week for the past couple of months now. And this can happen when it gets really busy, or if your facility is understaffed, or it's peak time. During peak time, during the last 3 months of the year, it's guaranteed. You're gonna get this guaranteed for week after week after week after week for like 3 months straight. So, oops. But for the rest of the year, it's usually a little bit slower. But right now, it's ever since the stimulus checks and tax refunds and all that stuff, it's been very, very busy. And yeah, are you okay with working mandatory extra time? I think that I'm not, but I got to the point where it's happened so many times now that I just firmed it. I don't like it, but I'll go in and work. It's just an extra 10 hours, it's an extra day, it's an extra money on your paycheck, which by the way, that money hits pretty good as well. So if you're someone who likes working, if you're okay with like mandatory extra time, go ahead and check this box off. If you're not, leave it unchecked. I would say you probably won't like that, because it can get called at any time, at any given moment. You'll never know. Like I said earlier, it's not that common, but this year, it's 2021, it's been so crazy with Amazon. It's been so busy. And to add on top of that as well, we do have a lot of voluntary extra time opportunities. So if you're someone who likes to work a lot of overtime optionally, like I know a lot of people like that. There's people who love to work and just get that overtime paid, that time and a half. I know a lot of people love that. So if you like that as well, check that box off as well, because there's a lot of opportunities for that as well. My fourth one is, do you enjoy stationary work? And by that I mean, like, do you enjoy work where you're doing the same thing every single day And in a lot of cases, in most positions at the Amazon warehouse, you're in one single station, pretty much like an office job. Basically like an office job, except you're standing instead of sitting, and doing the same thing for 10 hours to 12 hours straight. You're not allowed to be on your phones, although there is people that still get on their phones, like they try to hide it or they try to hide their headphones and stuff like that. I wouldn't recommend that, but people do still do it. But for the most part, you're not allowed to be on your phones. You will get written up if you get caught with it. You're not allowed to be on your phones. You're not allowed to do anything like that. And even before COVID time, before we had to wear a mask and stuff like that, you were actually not allowed to bring your phone into the warehouse at all. They took it up. So after COVID and after vaccine rollouts are pretty much like fully done, like I'm not sure how it's gonna be, but that's beside the point. Are you okay with doing the same thing, the same stationary work for most positions? Like for mine, the one that I currently do, stow, you sit there at your station all day and do the same thing all day long. There is nothing different about it. Same thing with counting, picking, all these things. You're doing the same thing pretty much all day. Are you okay with doing that? If you are, check that box off. If that does not sound interesting to you, if you do not like doing stationary work, this most likely isn't for you, because like I said, you are most of the time in most positions, you're doing this all day. There are a few positions where you won't be doing this, but even then, those positions are still repetitive and you're still pretty much doing the same thing all day. But with like stow, pick, count, pack, all those things, you are pretty much doing the same exact thing all day for a long period of time. And without your phone and with no headphones, no music, no nothing, literally just your thoughts. You are stuck there with your thoughts. It can be very, very mentally challenging. If you're not mentally strong enough for that, if you don't think you are, this job might not be for you. It might not. But if you think you're able to firm it, go ahead and give it a try. Or if you think maybe you can firm it, just go ahead and give it a try. Check that box off, because you're probably good. But if, like I said, if you don't think you can, I would not check this box off, because this job might not be for you. And my very, very last one, I know is a big one for a lot of people as well, is are you okay with micromanagement? Amazon is an extremely micromanaged job. They pay attention to every little detail, every little thing that you do. If you make a mistake, like nobody's there watching you the entire time, like nobody's physically there watching you with their eyes, but don't ask me, I don't know how the system fully works. I'm not fully like educated about all that, but every little mistake that you make, they will know. Every time that you're in the restroom, they will know. Every time that you're not working, they will know. You are being micromanaged the entire time. If you're not working hard enough, everything's done by the computer system, so you're always working with a little screen and your like scanner gun or anything like that. Anytime that you're not working or you're making mistakes or anything like that, they will know and they will come talk to you. You're micromanaged a lot. They come and talk to anyone who's made a mistake or anyone who's done anything or has been to the restroom too many times or anything like that. You are being heavily micromanaged, and they're pretty much, like the way I see it is, when you're there, you're being watched the entire time that you're there. So if you're not okay with being micromanaged, if you're not okay with being basically in a way stalked the whole time while you're at work, if you're not okay with that, do not check the box off. This is not the job for you, because you will be heavily micromanaged, and if you're not working well, they're always going to be getting onto you. If you're lazy or anything like that, they're always going to be getting onto you. It's kind of hard to explain when you don't work there, but if you do choose to end up working there, you will definitely see what I mean a couple of months in. Honestly, even in the first week in your training week, you will see what I mean, because you're going to make a lot of mistakes during your training week, and your trainers will have it on their tablet. Every time you make a mistake, it'll send them a notification or whatever. He just did this. I mean, don't ask me how it works, because I don't personally know, but I know the ins and outs of things, and you'll see once you're actually working there. If you're not okay with being micromanaged, this ain't for you. This ain't for you. But if you're fine with it, or if you think you can work hard enough to where it won't be a problem, go ahead and check that box off. You're good. Those are pretty much the 5 questions that I had. Of course, there's many more and many more details to Amazon. The purpose for that is just subscribe down below, and you'll see I'll definitely try to make another one of these. I try to make Amazon content all the time, so if you have any more Amazon questions, go ahead and comment them down below, and just make sure you're subscribed. But basically the point of this was, I would say if you check marked at least 3 of these things off, so if you're okay or you're good with 3 of the things that I like recommended or talked about, I would say go ahead and give Amazon a try. I personally like the job. A lot of people hate working here, but for me and for the type of person that I am, I personally like my job. But I know there's a lot of people who can't deal with some of these things. For some people, this just isn't the job for them, and that's completely understandable. I would say if you didn't check mark like at least 2 things off, definitely think about this heavily and probably go on the side of just not applying. But if you really need the job, go ahead and try it anyways. I would say it's so easy to get hired and it's a really enjoyable experience. Just at least try to work here. But if you are choosing like between this and something else, think about that other thing. If you didn't check off at least 2 things here, if you did check off like 2 or 3 things, definitely give it a try. And if you checked off like 4 or 5, yeah, go for it. It's so easy to get hired here. The pay is decent, and I personally enjoy working at Amazon most of the time. There's times where I don't like it, but for the most part, I'm pretty happy here. So those are like the 5 little things, the little like should you work at Amazon quiz, I guess you could say. And yeah, with that being said, I'm going to end that video there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe down below for more Amazon related content, gaming videos, all that good stuff. And remember to also comment down below any questions you have for an Amazon employee like myself. I will go ahead and make a video in the future about that. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and head out there, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.